Hi guys, I'm Celeste.
I'm Vanessa.
And today we're going to talk about 15 things that we hate about guys. All these things we've found in previous boyfriends and that made us dump them. So,
Okay. Number one is when guys think that they know everything. Like, yes, you may know more about like cars or guy stuff, but you don't know about all the girl stuff, so don't act like you try to know everything because it doesn't impress girls.
and especially when they're trying to explain something in school and they don't know it. That's really embarrassing, trying to impress you. And another thing is guys need to shower every day, okay? Some guys just are like, oh no, I showered yesterday. Well, you come to school, you smell like. So make sure to shower every day and brush your teeth because the girl will notice. Maybe you won't, but the girl will. So.
Yeah, and brushing your teeth also is a must because if you expect your girlfriend to kiss you or any girl to be attracted to you, especially when you're talking to them close up, then you really have to make sure that you brush your teeth and try to avoid foods like onions and garlic right before you hang out with your girl because that's just disgusting.
Yeah.
Okay, the third thing is guys that cannot keep a conversation going. I know that most of my boyfriends have done this, and you know, like, we don't try to make it all about ourselves and everything, but if we try to tell you something, you can at least answer. And especially when it comes to texting, girls that'll be like, oh, I love you so much and you're just the best, and you're like, thanks babe, so are you. You're like, wow, like, you put a lot of thought into that.
Yeah, and when they just say you too or same, you're like, say a full sentence please. Like, what are you even talking about? Yeah. And another thing is when they don't care about your feelings. Like, say you had a bad day, I don't know, you got a bad mark on your test, they're like, oh, whatever, you can get over it. Well, no, you need them to comfort you and everything.
Yeah, especially when it comes to like a pet dying or something. Like, girls can be pretty close to their pets, and you know, you could be like, oh, my dog died or something, and they're like, oh my goodness, like, just get over it. It was just a stupid dog. There's like 50 other ones at the Animal Rescue League. Like, you know, just because that you don't really care that your goldfish died or whatever, it doesn't mean that everybody else doesn't. Okay, another thing that guys do is when they try to show off for you. Sometimes it'll work if they're doing something cool, but most of the time it just really doesn't work. So don't try to show off and think that you're cooler than us because we're not going to find that attractive.
Yeah, especially like, oh yeah, I can lift 200 pounds. Yeah, well, I can beat you at an arm wrestle, so it wouldn't really work. And when guys think they're capable of getting and doing anything, like when they try to impress you more, they're like, oh yeah, if you ever broke up with me, I would just go out with this hot girl. Well, no, you're a loser, so that you can't do that.
Or even if you have, like, you're hanging out with a guy and you're not going out with him or whatever, but you both like each other, and then he's, like, walking around the mall, like, spotting out, like, the hottest girls in the town, and you're like, you cannot get somebody like that. And then they totally pass up, like, average pretty girls that they could totally get. Even a nice girl in school, they're like, oh, she's so ugly, and so I could do so much better than that. Well, actually, you'd be lucky to get her, so.
Yeah, don't take for granted what you could get. Jeez, guys. And also another big thing is guys that lie. Yeah, that's really bad because you just if they lie to you, it's just such a turnoff. Like, you would want to hang out with a guy that's like, oh yeah, I have $5,000 in the bank. Well, pay for supper then.
Okay, guys that put themselves in front of their girlfriends, I cannot stand that. If you promise your girl that, you know, yeah, we're gonna hang out Friday night and go see, you know, the movie that you've always been wanting to see, and they're like, you know, actually, my buddy wants to play Xbox tonight, so I think I'm gonna do that instead. Like, that's just not cool. If you made plans with your girl, then expect to keep them, and then vice versa. If you make plans with the guys, then we're not gonna expect you to break them.
Yeah, because you obviously want yourself to be the first priority for the guy most of the time. Maybe not all the time, but like just for basic things. And another thing, number 10, is when they react or get mad over stupid little things. like if you give some random friend a hug that's a guy and then they start getting mad at you, that's just the worst because yeah, he's a friend, I'm allowed to give him a hug.
Yeah, that's so true. Or like if an accident happens or whatever and then they just freak right out over nothing, or they start assuming things like, oh well, you probably just did this and this, like don't blame me for stuff if you weren't there.
Exactly.
Okay, one of the biggest things is when stupid guys don't care about necessary stuff like education. Like, we don't expect you to be like, y equals mx plus b, but, you know, you don't have to be like, oh, education's for losers, and make fun of us for doing our homework, because being stupid, there's nothing attractive about that, and you're not going to get a good job, so you should just actually try about education.
Yeah, and a girl's not going to want to stay in a long relationship with you if... Hello? It says TD Bank.
Hang up.
I should have, like, threw this away. Okay, number 12 is when guys brag about what they have. Like, maybe if your guy's more rich than you or something, and he starts bragging about his car and house, you're obviously not going to want to hang around him if all he talks about is himself and his stuff.
Yeah, it's true. Or if guys always think that, like, their stuff is better, so if you're like, hey, do you want to come over tonight? And they're like, actually, you should come over to my house because my couch is comfier. Like, seriously, just don't be like that or act like you have better stuff than your girlfriend that you don't ever try to compete with when you're in a relationship. Okay, number 13 is people that want girls for the wrong reasons or act like we're an item, because it's just not cool at all when guys are all like, oh, you know, you should just, you know, why are you wearing that and stuff, like, you should wear more low-cut shirts, you know, like, just because a shirt isn't, like, way down to my belly button doesn't mean that it's not a cute shirt.
Yeah, and then when you guys hang out, all the guy wants to do is make out or have sex. You're not gonna want to do that. You want to maybe talk or hang out, go to a movie, and do actually fun stuff that both of them like. Another thing is guys that judge constantly. When guys judge you, your friends, or just like any random person, judging people isn't gonna make yourself look better. Okay, get that in your head, please.
Yeah, especially when guys are like, oh, I just really hate your mom. And you're like, okay, that's not going to really get you anywheres, because if you feel like they hate your family or your friends, you're not going to want a long-distance relationship with, or a long-term relationship with them, because you're going to feel like, well, what are we supposed to do on Thanksgiving? Just sit with us and our dog? Like, you're going to want to have some friends over and feel like they can actually hang out and like them, and that they'll accept your friends.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, the last one is when guys only talk about stuff that they're interested in. And you're like, you know, hey, I just won an award for, you know, this and this. Like, well, that's cool, babe. Guess what? I just put gas in my truck. And you're like, okay, nobody cares about your car. Like, if you get something really cool and you're like, oh, I just got, you know, new steering wheel cover or whatever.
Wait, we're making a video.
Good. You guys should go upstairs and have lunch.
We will. Right after this. We're almost done.
Hmm?
Dad, go out. That's another thing we hate about guys. They always interrupt you.
Who are you doing to?
We're making a YouTube video.
YouTube video?
I think we're gonna have to have a bloopers video.
I know.
Dad, leave, please.
Why do you make YouTube video?
Just because we're bored, okay?
Well, why don't you go get a horse ride or... Yeah? Take the horse out for
Dad,
a walk.
you're still on camera. Leave, please.
Anyways, like, we totally understand if you have something important to tell us, but if it's something stupid, you know, and you're gonna interrupt something important that we are talking about just to say something stupid, like, we don't really care about the new Halo game.
Unless the girl likes video games.
Yeah. Which I don't.
So that concludes 15 things that girls hate about guys, and if your boyfriend has more than 5 of these things, you might want to talk to him about it. Because we know everyone's not perfect, and obviously all guys won't be like Prince Charming.
Because if you really care about your girl, then you're not going to do these things, and if you do, then you should listen to her when she says, like, I don't really like it when you do that. Then that's another thing. Don't just be like, yeah, well, it's just the way I am. If you don't like it, then break up with me.
Yeah, so if you're a guy and you're watching this is all true, and any girl you ask will agree, okay?
And never stop trying for a girl either. Just because you have her doesn't mean that you can just like kick back and just show them the worst side of you, because we still do care. And just because we fell in love with you for a bunch of reasons, we expect them to be still there. Even by 2 or 3 years later, you should still have all that stuff.
Yeah, so never give up. And if you want to get a girl, do these things too.